Oh my goodness, that is so beautiful. So today I'm going to show you how to make gyerranmari. This is Korean style omelet. This is one of my most popular recipes and people are always asking me, how do you get it to not stick? Well, today I'm going to show you how to do just that. So we're going to add just a few things to our gyerranmari or our vegan eggs. We're going to be using some carrot. We're also going to use some green onions, which we chopped up earlier for our ho박 banchan, and we're going to add just a little bit of sweet peppers. So the way I like to chop up my vegetables is to kind of get it very, very small. If you have too chunky vegetables for your gyerranmari, it's going to weigh your omelet down, and it's going to be harder to get that beautiful folding technique down. So what I'm going to use is this Julienner. It's like a potato peel, only it actually cuts the carrot into strips. It juliennes them. If you want to know where to get this, I'll include a link to that in the notes below. Just using one carrot, and we've got these beautiful julienne strips. And then I will take out my knife, and I'm just going to run my knife through them like this. All right, then we're just going to chop up a small sweet pepper. These are not as spicy as, say, like a jalapeno or a shiso pepper. If you like the heat, go right ahead and do the same thing with a small jalapeno or even hotter pepper if you want. I don't want to do that. We're just going to add these to the same measuring cup with the carrot. We're going to add these scallions, the green onions. So we've got green represented there. And then finally, we're going to add our just egg, which is the liquid egg that I like to use for this recipe. We're going to add about enough so that it reaches the 1 cup mark. So obviously it's not 1 full cup of the just egg because there's quite a few vegetables that we added to this. We're just going to give this a little bit of a stir. The other thing I'm going to add to this is a little bit of seasoning. So we're just going to give it a hit with some coarse sea salt, cracked black pepper. Do that again here. Give that a little bit of a mix. And that is what we need for our omelet before we head to our stove. All right, so I always get the question, how do we make sure that the egg doesn't stick to the pan? There are a lot of tricks up my sleeve that I use for that, but of course the first is starting out with a really, really good non-stick pan. I'm using a square pan here, but it is non-stick. You want to make sure you're using a non-stick pan. This is another great pan that you can use for the same exact banchan, maybe a little bit smaller. The key is, again, that it is non-stick. The next thing we're going to do to make sure that our just egg doesn't stick to the pan, of course, is to add a little bit of oil. You can use extra virgin olive oil. I'm going to be using avocado oil here. Again, it's got sort of a neutral flavor and it has a high burn point. Now, when I first started making this gyerranmari, I thought I had to use a lot of oil in order to guard against sticking. But I soon realized it isn't really a lot of oil that you need. You need to monitor your temperature. That is the key to making sure that this just egg doesn't stick to your non-stick pan. So we don't need to add a lot of oil. In fact, I try to guard against using a lot of oil by using this brush. I've got here this silicone brush that I'm going to use. I'm just going to add like maybe not even a tablespoon, like more like a teaspoon of oil. And I'm going to use my brush to spread that out all around my non-stick pan. Normally, I cook a lot of my recipes on medium-high. If you have my cookbook, then you know, okay, turn your heat on to medium-high is sort of like this ongoing refrain throughout my cookbook. But here, we're gonna turn it on to about medium because we don't want the just egg to cook instantly on the outside while not cooking on the inside. The other thing we wanna do is we wanna create very thin layers. So we're actually not going to add very much at the very beginning. So I'm just going to pour this in right now. We're going to spread it out. Okay, so I added probably about, let's see, we're now at the 3/4 cup. So I added about a 1/4 cup of this mixture to the pan. I'm just making sure that it's spread out evenly all across the pan. And now I'm going to go around with my spatula and I'm going to pull the edges away from the pan, just like this. So when the edges that I'm pulling away from the side come off cleanly, Then I know that the egg is sufficiently cooked on the bottom in order for me to start rolling. And that's exactly what we're gonna do. I'm gonna start at the side that's with the handle first. And I'm just gonna take my spatula and I'm just gonna pick it up, like this, and I'm gonna create just the tiniest little fold over. We don't need it to be 1 inch. It could literally be 1/4 of an inch. Just the smallest little roll. That's all you need to start with. It's kind of like rolling wrapping paper. You know, when you're done wrapping your gifts at, around the holidays and it's time to wrap it all up. That's all we're doing here. We're rolling up a little bit of wrapping paper. I am pressing it down as I roll it over because I do want it to be really nice and tight. I want these rolls to be tight. So as you can see, I've left a little bit of that edge here at the very end of our gyerranmari. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push this all back. Okay, and if I need to, just stick my spatula on the bottom, and then it should easily roll all the way back there. I'm gonna use my oil again, maybe another 1/4 of a teaspoon here. There we go. Just a drop of oil. We're gonna use our brush to make sure that our pan is evenly oiled. And I'm gonna add another 1/4 cup of this mixture. Okay, so you can see what I've done is I've added the mixture and now it meets that little lip that I left over when we were rolling the gyerranmari that first time. And so you're creating this like unending sheet of Korean omelet to continue rolling. Once again, I'm just gonna pull the edges away from the side here. I think we're all good here. Let's begin rolling. So we're gonna start again at the side closest to the handle. And we're gonna pull it up with our spatula just like that. I'm gonna press it down. I'm also gonna begin pulling it back towards the handle in order to create a very tight roll. We'll repeat exactly what we did earlier. Add a little bit of oil. Again, just the tiniest bit. We don't want our gyerranmari to be oily and heavy. And we're gonna add another 1/4 cup of this mixture. Let's begin rolling again. Here what I will do, you don't have to do this, but again, I like to make sure that it's super tight. I'll use like chopsticks with my other hand, and I'll kind of push this towards the handle while I use the spatula to lift it up and roll. That's again gonna ensure that we get a super nice, tight roll. You don't have to do it, it's a little over, but that's what I like to do, it's just like that. Look at that. Pressing it down here. We're gonna take it off our pan here. And we're just gonna let it cool down. I don't want you to try slicing into this while it's still piping hot because then you will burn your fingers. So let's let this cool for about, I don't know, 3-4 minutes until it's safe to touch with our hands. All right, our gyerranmari is nice and cool. Let's slice into it. I'm gonna cut it into about 1/2 inch thick pieces. Let's take a look at the inside. Oh my goodness. That is so beautiful. I told you, you get all the different colors. You get the red from the sweet pepper, you get the orange from the carrot, you get the green from the scallions, and of course this lovely yellow color from the just egg. This is one of my favorite banchans. Let's give it a taste. This is so good. You're going to love this gyerranmari. This is so good. I'm telling you, it takes me right back to my mom's kitchen. So how would I eat this? Duh, with a bowl of rice. And I'm just gonna create myself a nice little assortment of banchan. A little bit of that spinach and some of that zucchini. It's so healthy, so nutritious, so delicious. All right. Thanks everyone. Thank you for joining me on another episode of In the Kitchen with the Korean Vegan. I hope you enjoyed today's recipe video. If you did, please hit subscribe below if you haven't already, and make sure to check out all the other wonderful videos I have on the Korean Vegan channel. Until next time, have a great and lovely day. Bye. Bye.